I used to feel sick on and off, but I didn't think anything of it. But then when I started getting pain in my sitting bone, glutes area, and it wouldn't go away, I knew something wasn't right. That was around September 2017. So during my journey of trying to find out what this pain was, I started developing other symptoms. So I got fatigue, I sort of not feeling well on and off got worse, and my anxiety increased because it was this hunt of what is wrong, what is wrong, what is wrong. So when I was finally diagnosed with Lyme disease, I was relieved that there now was an answer for why I felt the way I felt. But on the other hand, it was scary because what is Lyme disease?
Siyanamukela ahlulweni lwethu lapho khona siphenya ngezifo esiphila nazo ezinokuphazamisa indlela esiphila ngayo usuku nosuku. Lezi zifo ziyakwazi ukushintsha izinga lempilo yazo uma ungayitholi imithi. Sigcine siba umbulali esiphila kanye naye. Namhlanje sihlangana noMichelle Cabral, owesifazane owayenempilo elungile. Manje usephethwe isifo seLyme kanye nesifo sebipolar. Ake sihlangane noMichelle ukuze sithole okwengeziwe ngohambo lwakhe lwezempilo nokuthi uye wabhekana kanjani nalezi zimo.
So my physical health growing up was pretty normal, but on the mental side it wasn't. So due to my upbringing and the situation, I suffered from insecurities and rejection. I was put in boarding school at a very young age, and that caused a lot of unhappiness, and I started with anxiety and depression, and therefore it affected my health because my stomach started paining, and that's when the IBS and spastic colon started. I was diagnosed with bipolar about 15 years ago, and then I was diagnosed with Lyme disease about the end of 2019.
So Lyme disease is normally contracted mostly via a tick bite. But it can also be from mother to child transmission. It can be if I'm eating raw meat like biltong and it's infected and I've got a sore in my mouth, I can get it like that. I can get it via blood donation because remember our blood donors are not screened for Lyme disease. So you can get it on various ways, but the most common way we get it is via a tick bite. Acute symptoms of Lyme disease would be a summer flu or flu-like illness, sore throat, arthralgias, which is like joint pains, body aches and fatigue, and a severe headache. So Lyme disease can be life-threatening. It's not regularly life-threatening, so it can affect the cardiac muscles. So there was a big doctor in America who actually got a heart transplant because of Lyme disease. But Lyme disease will not per se give you life-threatening symptoms, but it will threaten your life. It will change your life forever. I've got patients who are in wheelchairs because of Lyme disease because it affected their nerves so badly that they just couldn't walk anymore. The pain was so bad.
I don't know how I contracted Lyme disease. Some people know because they've physically seen a tick embedded in them. But I don't know. Because ticks are and can be as small as breadcrumbs, I could have been bitten, could have been embedded and fallen off. So I actually don't know when I was bitten. It could have been many, many years ago. It could have been just before my diagnosis. So I really don't know. So now besides Lyme disease, I still have the bipolar to deal with. And it was just as scary finding out about bipolar because now I've been labeled, I am bipolar. And the way it is portrayed in movies and the way that people use the word like she's bipolar, it's like, oh boy, now I'm labeled with this word. There's so much stigma around it and there's not enough awareness.
So bipolar disorder is a mood disorder, and basically what you have is people have disturbances in their mood. Their mood is not stable. Most of us, we have days when we're happy, we have days when we're sad, but our mood is essentially stable. In people who have bipolar mood disorder, they have periods when their mood is incredibly low, when they are very, very depressed. And then they have periods when their mood is either extremely high, elated or euphoric, or very, very irritable. But they have minimal periods of just stability, and that is the problem, the swinging between the moods. Bipolar disorder is one of the most heritable psychiatric disorders. So you need to inherit a certain combination of genes from one or both of your parents. But it doesn't mean to say that if you have the genes, you will definitely get bipolar.
So with the bipolar, because I was diagnosed years ago, you start to live with it and you start to get used to it. It's still a daily struggle. It's still a mental daily struggle that you've got to control and manage. But with Lyme disease, it's been even worse. It's really drastically changed my life. So my entire life revolves around it. So because of fatigue, you have to rest often, so you don't get much done, which is extremely frustrating because everything is slow and I've got to rest on the weekend. Physical activity, limiting. Can't do this, can't be on my feet for long, can't stand for long, can't sit for long, have to sit on a certain chair like the chair I'm sitting on, have to have a cushion with me. You have to keep track of your medication, you have to make medical notes so you can keep track of your journey. You need to follow the dietary requirements, prepare healthy meals, you have to exercise, you have to get sunlight, you have to take Epsom salt baths and nebulize. So it's actually quite a lot of things and you've got to do it every single day. That is important to keep track of everything. On the positive side, however, is that I have grown as a person. I've realized I can actually take on more than what I thought I could. And that I'm in a situation now where I can help other people that are suffering from Lyme disease. Because this is an opportunity to spread awareness, and it's a stepping stone to actually becoming an ambassador and helping other people. If someone is viewing that suspects they have Lyme disease or know they've been bitten by a tick and have strange symptoms, or they're unsure about their current diagnosis, I would really advise that they go to a LLMD, which is a Lyme literate medical doctor, to actually rule out whether they have Lyme disease, because often you get misdiagnosed. Mental health conditions like bipolar are real. They do exist. It's not in your head. If someone has high blood pressure, they need to take medication. So if you have a mental illness, why can't you take medication? It's a medical condition. So don't be afraid to speak out. Talk to somebody. Get advice. There is no shame in talking about it. Although there's so much stigma around it, get advice and seek help.
Emva kwekhefu sizofunda ngokwengeziwe ngesifo sika Michelle kudokotela wakhe. Siyanamukela futhi ku Killers in Our Midst. Namhlanje sihlangana no Michelle Cabral, owatholakala enesifo sebipolar nesifo seLyme. Noma engabe lezi zifo zingakufaki ukuphila engozini, zishintsha kakhulu indlela ophila ngayo. Ake sithole ukuthi uthini udokotela kaMichelle ngempilo yakhe.
So how have you been?
So, some good news for once.
Yay!
I don't think you've heard good news since I've started.
No, I've had a few times.
Yeah, so I think my fatigue is getting better for the first time. My stomach is giving issues, obviously from the antibiotics, that's a normal, so I'm trying to manage that.
What are you using for it?
Movicol and probiotics. Yeah, so there's nothing else at this point due to the dietary limitations from the one tablet. So there's not much I can do, but I'm doing all the natural things that I can.
Okay.
Yeah. Then my voice is still not right. It's been the same for so long. I can't talk. It's strain. I get strain. I get pain.
Easily tired.
Yeah, talking too long in the morning will strain my voice. Talking in a restaurant over loud music will strain my voice. Teaching too long will strain my voice. And obviously because I teach singing, that doesn't help. My ears have started paining now. I have the normal voice sensitivities, as you know, but this is now my ears ache.
It's changed.
It's aching, yeah. But I was exposed
So is the ache a deep ache, or is it more of a high-pitched ache, or is it more like a pressure ache?
It's It's like a deep pain. Maybe I got an infection. So that is on the symptom side.
Okay. And no headaches, the nausea.
The nausea that I've been getting on and off, that's why I want to get some Zofa. It's random.
Now, exercise?
Yes. At least 3 times a week. Obviously not feeling well, life is hectic, then once or twice, but I'm really making an effort. Just walking at the moment.
Okay, so you're doing the walking, so now do for me 10 or 15 minutes walking and then go to the floor, or do your 30 minutes walking and then as a cool down do those exercises.
Yeah.
Start on 5 minutes and then increase to where you can.
Yes.
Tell me, how's the diet?
Very good.
Okay, let's start on treatment.
So it's been 6 months now I've worked out of the antabuse, the disulfiram and the doxy. The nebulizing, which I don't do every day.
You don't nebulize a lot.
Enough. I'm trying. Yeah.
So for you, we're going slow, but we are going forward. We're not standing still. But that's also why we've added the other stuff as well, to see if we can support you, because at the moment you can't do all this extra supplementation you did in the beginning. But the fact that for the first time ever you've got energy and you're feeling better tells me you are on the right track.
And then how do you pronounce it? Methylene blue. What is that actually doing? What does methylene blue do?
It breaks the biofilms, it's a wonderful oxidator, and remember the Bartonella in the background? It's active against Bartonella. So that's why we're adding it, to help break down the biofilms of the Bartonella, because we know methylene blue is very active against Bartonella. Alongside the doxy, that should be adequate enough while treating the Lyme. That's why we have to go slow, because methylene blue can also cause mania and stuff, and it can also interact with your mental pills. So that's why we are going very low, and I'm not going to push you up above a certain dosage with it, because I don't want to push you back into mania.
Okay.
Let's quickly do your examination before we run out of complete time.
Yeah. Lying down.
Yes, we'll start lying down. How's the swelling?
No swelling. Just one. Okay.
I'm not going to do that.
No, you can feel the
Relax. Relax your stomach. It's all today. What it was last time.
It's tight.
Relax. How's the glands?
Sore throats again. On sinus or just the reflux, it all adds together.
Let's just do a lying down pressure. Just relax. 150 and 76 with pulse 80.
No.
Breathing out. Okay, you can sit up for me.
Okay.
Right. Lungs are beautiful. I'm happy with your heart at the moment. Let's just check those hips. This definitely works. You're not as bad as you think it is. But enough so that I can completely see your eardrums.
Fantastic.
There is definitely swelling in the leg, so you are quite unhappy with it.
Okay. Well, I'm fault for going to a loud environment.
You were living.
I was living for the once, and I had no pain, and I danced, and I had a good time, and then I suffered afterwards.
Look, during that time, you felt you excreted happy hormones. So if you were sitting at home, you would have missed not going, and you would have been more depressed.
Exactly.
Going out and living is very, very important. So the fact that you went unhappy, you might have overdone it for 3 hours, maybe 2 hours, but you took precautions, protected your ears as best you could. You know, so sometimes that little after effect, it was worth living.
I dropped quite quickly. It can be a kilo and a half.
56.
Oh my goodness, that means I'm even thinner. Okay. So the weight is an issue because I dropped a kilo and a half, and then, my friends are saying I'm too thin. I do think it's the dietary restrictions, but I feel okay.
You don't eat crap.
No, I feel okay. Yeah, I feel okay.
So our plan is that we are going to continue in anti-abuse now. We're going to slowly increase with the guidance and acceptance of your psychiatrist. We are going to continue on the diet. You're going to continue exercising. Then we're going to continue with the low dose methylene blue, but we're not going to increase that. I will give you a script for the doxy. I will give you the antifungal treatments as well. And then if there's any problems, you let me know. And then next month, before you see me, you will do the bloods. So we can talk about them on our next consultation.
Okay.
And I will email you the script again, and then I'll give the printed version will be in front for you to make it easier in the pharmacy.
Perfect. Okay.
Have a lovely day. Just put your mask on in case there's patients outside that's at risk or uncomfortable with it.
Sifundile ngezinye zezimpawu zikaMichelle nokuthi isifo se-Lyme siwuthinta kanjani umzimba wakhe nokuphila kwakhe kwansuku zonke. Sifunde ukuthi noma ukululama kukaMichelle kuhamba kancane kancane, kuba ngcono usuku nosuku. Siyanamukela futhi ohlelweni lwethu lapho sizinikele khona ngokuniqaphelisa ngezifo esiphila nazo ezinokuphazamisa indlela esiphila ngayo. Lezi zifo sizibiza nge-killers in our midst. Ukuphila nakho kokubili, i-Lyme disease kanye ne-bipolar disorder, kuletha izinselele zansuku zonke zengqondo nezomzimba. UMichelle usibonisa ukuthi ngokudla ukudla okuqinile, ukuvivinya umzimba njalo, nokunakekela impilo yakho yengqondo, ungakwazi ukunqoba lezi zithiyo, uphele ukwazi ukuphila impilo yakho kahle.
All my questions were answered. It was quite detailed. I know the way forward. I know what to do. And there has been some improvement since I last spoke to the doctor, which is a good thing. With Lyme disease, there is so many do's and don'ts. You've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to nebulize, you've got to bath, and to try and fit everything in one day is a lot. And then it gets, I get home late, and then I must nebulize, and then it's 8 at night, and then I must sit there, make some noise, don't feel like it, hurts my ears. It's a combination of things. It's just not that I don't want to, it's just trying to fit everything in one day sometimes just becomes exhausting. So I'm trying more than usual now to fit it in. Every day is ideal, should be done, but I'm getting better at it.
So Michelle's not allowed to drink alcohol because of the medication she's on. Thank God, she doesn't smoke, which is a brilliant thing because smoking gives her a worse prognosis. Michelle is on a very strict diet because she's got gut issues, but also because sugar feeds the bugs. And you don't want to try killing something while you're giving it food. So the bugs love sugar, so we don't do sugar. She has to exercise because unfortunately exercise stimulates the immune system, it supports the immune system and it aids detoxing, which is very, very important for her. So that's why that is important to her. We're still struggling with the stress part because Michelle gets stressed very easily. So I've got 4 pillars in my practice. She has to do the exercise, she has to do the correct diet and lifestyle, and then the 3rd pillar is mental well-being, which she has to take care of her. She has to have support, and it doesn't help you, overwork yourself and constantly stress. That's bad for your immune system. So everything I guess to do is to build up the immune system and detox and then aid to complement all other treatments I do.
Okay, so now I'm going to be baking my go-to bread. And because I have dietary restrictions and I can't have gluten and wheat and no sugar and no dairy, I've had to adapt. And I'm not a baker at all, so this is an absolute miracle that I'm doing this, but I've had to do it because ingredients in the stores will have an item in it that I can't have. So I've had to adapt and use certain ingredients.
Yeah, she had to make life changes after her diagnosis because number one, she had to eat a lot more healthy than what she was doing previously. She had to cut out a lot of foods and I feel so sorry for her. We have dessert, she can't have that. She had to cut out sugar completely. A lot of her life. She's able to suck it up and actually put a face on for everybody. but that's not actually how she's feeling. I get emotional when I talk about that. Sorry. I've just seen so many friendships end, you know, because people don't understand. So, yeah. Lyme's isn't something people are really educated about. It's not like cancer where people have compassion and a certain level of understanding. You can't plan, we can't say, oh, next week we want to go to a show, or in 2 weeks' time we want to go away, because she doesn't know how she's going to be feeling at that given moment.
No, I didn't figure out that I can't eat certain items because of reactions. Yes, for my IBS. So when it comes to irritable bowel and things like that, yes, you eat wheat and gluten, you swell up. So then I knew, okay, I mustn't have that. But with the Lyme disease, they tell you, these are the things you can't have. And then within that Lyme disease treatment, there's other treatments that you need to do. So you've got to get rid of mold, and you can't have nightshades. And now I'm doing something else, which is very strict. You can't have any alcohol products whatsoever. So no vinegars, you've got to look at all the sauces, and I don't eat sauces anyway, but so with every treatment within Lyme, there's certain things you've got to cut out. So I don't really have reactions to it, I just cut it out. The only thing I always have reaction to is gluten in my stomach swells, but that's been like that for years. So my bread is ready. It are ready. Okay, I'm going to put it in the oven. So I said to you that I never bake, and then the first time I baked, I burnt myself. So that was fantastic. I won't be doing it now. Okay. There you go. And voila.
uMichelle usebenza njengensika yethemba kanye nenxusa yalabo abaphethwe yi-Lyme disease kanye ne-bipolar disorder. Usikhombise ukuthi usengakwazi ukujabulela ukuphila uma unikezwe izimo zakho, udinga nje ukuguqula umbono wakho. Futhi uqaphele ukuthi imfundo iyisihluthulelo sokuqonda nokuphila nesifo se-Lyme.